It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furnature. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Oh my goodness, the election has come. We don't have results for you, but we'll talk about it. We also have a ton of local headlines on this week's Cup of Coffee. I'm Wild Will.
I'm Uncle Chris.
Excited to bring you guys this week's Cup of Coffee. We're going to have Stacy Pirtle with the Magic Dragon Trails join us this week. Man, that bicycle skills park, you been out there yet?
I have been watching videos of it, and I've heard you've already crashed and burned out there.
I'm glad there's not video evidence. You're just going to have to go off of the testimony you heard that happen, because I don't know if that happened or not. Hey, we're going to talk about a really cool kids workshop with Home Depot. We're going to talk about a couple cool events. Plus, we're going to talk about what does Easter actually mean in America? We'll talk about that and a whole lot more on this week's Cup of Coffee.
Hey everyone, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're back out in the tent this week. We've got better weather and more stuff for you to view for your outdoor living. We have counter height and bar height dining sets. We have sectionals. We have sofa, love seat, and table options. And don't forget, besides being marked down, everything in the tent is ready for immediate delivery. Come check us out at Slumberland at the Lake, where we're bringing happy home.
All right, so as we get you started, it is a brand new week and the election results are in. Unfortunately, we record our show on Tuesday morning before the election results were in. So although we don't know, we're chomping at the bit, Chris and I biting our fingernails to find out the results. You can check out Lake TV's Facebook page right now as you watch this, as we have all official results for things like Ozark Mayor and Alderman, school board races, Osage, Versailles, Camdenton. Those are big, plus a 3% recreational marijuana tax, yes or no issue on the ballot in basically all three counties and a few other things. So there's about 10 different ballot items that we'll be having results posted to or did post on our Facebook page. And as always, important election.
Yeah, elections, that's one thing we've learned the last few years is elections are so important, and especially locally, nationally certainly, but all these things are huge. How do you want your kids taught? How do you want the schools run? That's all about the school board. How do you want your cities run? That's all about the aldermen and the mayors. And so, yeah, all these things are hugely important. And we try to help you keep up with those things because in Missouri, they're all over. Like April elections, November elections. I think there's elections at other times during the year too. So.
Well, it's hard to keep a handle on, but we do our best. And I will say something I've noticed over the last few years is a growing importance with the school boards. And as far as we're seeing some things, the viral videos of parents, getting called terrorists, parents getting escorted out of meetings with the inability to talk and have their voice heard. And it's an interesting climate right now. And so those school boards, to me, are ones that I put more emphasis on as far as if your kid goes to school, if you graduated from that district, if you live in that taxing district where the school receives your taxes, I think it's important you get involved, even if you don't have kids in the school system, so you can have a say. And you do that in our country by voting. And so we hope all of you got out and voted. Chris and I are going to wrap this up so we can run and get our voting in. Our first local story as we get started. You see KRMS reported there's a local bridge that was saved.
Yeah, and this is really, really cool. So efforts to save a historical bridge, you probably have heard about this, from demolition. Those efforts have paid off. So a press release issued by MoDOT, by the state last Friday reports that the transfer of ownership of the Greens Mill Bridge, that's along Route J, stretching over the Little Niangua Arm in Camden County, that's been completed. So the transfer of ownership is completed, and why that's important, the process to transfer again, it's the Greens Mill Historic Bridge, is because MoDOT found that bridge to be unsafe for regular traffic. So they built another bridge, and that bridge is built, and it's fine. Traffic's so they were going to tear down the historic bridge. So a group of local people wanted to save the bridge. They were willing to take on ownership, which means they have to do all the upkeep and stuff like that. So MoDOT in 2020 put up a new bridge, as we told you about. That the old bridge was built in 1933.
Wow.
So that bridge would have been taken down, destructed, but the group steps up to preserve it. They now have ownership. Plans for the bridge to be used as a venue for weddings, reunions, and other events. So that's really cool and kind of keeps some of our history alive and well.
Yeah, very cool. Love that they're planning that. And it makes that bridge 90 years old.
Wow.
And you think about that. How about this group stepping up and saying, hey, we want to take on ownership of this. We realize the responsibility, but we want to preserve it. We want you to allow you to come out and enjoy it, whether it's weddings, whether you're just hiking out. So pretty cool. Something else I thought was pretty cool, being a newer dad, you know, it's hard to find things for the littles to do, especially during COVID. Everything was different, right? So to have a COVID baby on the tail end of this, as we're starting to get back to what some might consider normal, hard to find things to get the kids out to do that doesn't break an arm and a leg. Well, insert Home Depot's Kids Workshop. Now, apparently they've been doing this for years, Chris, but Unique Solid on Facebook, and we went this last Saturday. It was our first time. It's the first Saturday of every month from 9 to noon at Home Depot. Ours is here in Osage Beach. Saturday, they did a DIY birdhouse and feeder. Here's the cool thing. They provide all the supplies, hardware, tools, the work area. And not only that, but if you can't make it, you can go online and get it for free. It costs $5. You have your kit and everything shipped to you. And if you're there, of course, like I said, it's free. It was our first one, and Brinley had such a blast. I think Unique and I probably had more fun than she did. We saw our friends from Carmelitas. They were there. They even give you an apron, Brinley an apron with her name on it, and they give you these really cool, let's see if I still have it. Yeah, I brought it with me. Pins each month.
Okay.
You see it says the year, the month and the year, and then shows the item you made. So I thought that was cool. You can kind of make it a tradition and mark your calendars. Next month, it's Saturday, May 6th, and they're going to do DIY flower planter with seeds, Chris.
Okay.
For June, which would be Father's Day, I thought this was cool, a DIY putting green contraption. Can't wait for that.
And you golf, so that'll be good for you.
I'm not sure I'd call it golf. Appreciate that. I try. And in July, there's a fireworks beanbag toss board. And I've got to say this. Like I said earlier, it's so hard to find things outside of a tablet, the TV shows, YouTube, for youngsters of substance. And this is awesome. So kudos to Home Depot, because they've apparently been doing this for well over 20 years. We just stumbled on it. And I want to give a shameless plug to them, because looking online at the Kids Workshop and the details on the upcoming ones and how you can order your home kit, I actually saw their whole workshops page. Some incredibly helpful virtual resources like Homeowners 101, DIY workshops. The 101 for homeowners was good for me. Things like changing your air filter and your hot water heater that I wouldn't think of and I've already struggled with. So these are really cool seasonal workshops, on-demand workshops, and of course the kids' workshops. Now don't forget, that's the first Saturday of every month at Home Depot, 9 to noon. Saturday, May 6th is the next one, and we hope to see you there as we'll be making DIY flower planters. But I thought this was one of the coolest things.
Well, and you could rub shoulders with big-time television stars while you're there doing that, you know, with William Holtz. And
you got Rod Smith and Zach Paul and some of these guys coming down to hang out with us on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine they probably would. All right, so we're going to take a break. When we come back, we were telling you about the Magic Dragon Trails and their bicycle skills park. We're going to be joined by Stacy Pirtle, who her and her husband Jan really are the brainchild behind this entire project. Very insightful, really great. We'll take a break and be right back with Stacy.
Hey, we've got some special guests on the Lake TV Community Spotlight Show this week, some state champions from Tipton. It's the Lady Cardinals, Coach Jason Culpepper, and a couple of his star players. We've got Myra Class, Co-Player of the Year in the state of Missouri, and Charlie Bailey, just a young sophomore. She'll be back. So we'll talk about state championships, high school basketball with the Tipton Lady Cardinals.
All right, and as promised, we've got Stacy Pirtle with the Magic Dragon Trails. And I'm telling you what, Stacy, some people watching this interview right now, they've heard of the Magic Dragon Trails. They've started to see some stuff, whether on Lake TV or hear about it locally. And so tell us just a little bit about when someone sees you and says, well, what is the Magic Dragon Trail system? What is your general answer to that?
Well, the Magic Dragon Trail System is a plan that came about 2.5 years ago, and it was to develop multi-use, world-class recreational trails here at the lake to extend tourism year-round. Because for hiking, biking, one-wheeling, whatever you want to use those trails for, you can do it all year round. And actually, some of the best times to do it is right now while the leaves are just starting to pop. So spring, winter, and fall are excellent times for any of those type of activities, as well as summer, to give people something else to do.
And that's one of the big things here at the lake is we're busy in the spring and summer, but what do you do in the off months? And so enter Magic Dragon Trails. Now, I don't know if you guys out there watching know this, but the interest in mountain bikes and e-bikes and smart bikes is on the rise. It's a growing industry. And so tell us how the last couple of years have come about and how this trail system has come to fruition.
Okay, well, basically, my husband is a mountain biker, but he doesn't swim, and he's a redhead, so he doesn't like being in the sun. So when I made him retire down here, I needed to get him some mountain biking trails. We're both on the Community Foundation of the Lake Board, and so we worked with Amy Hernandez, who was the president at that time, and the board to kind of develop an economic driver for the community, and that became the Magic Dragon Trail System. We hired a professional trail design firm out of Bentonville, Arkansas, which Bentonville, or Northwest Arkansas, is the bike mecca of the world right now. And we have actually better terrain. We have nearly the same soil composition, so the trails will drain well. And yeah, mountain biking and hiking, outdoor activity with COVID just exploded. Mountain bike sales are up 210% in the last couple of years. E-bikes are becoming huge with people now. Plus just being able to get out and walk and hike and see the lake from a different vantage point.
Yeah, and I love the effort. And so, we've heard about this, and the question that I get when I tell people at Magic Dragon Trails is when. And so I tell them, like, look, the bicycle skills park is already working in some of the hiking trails. Like, you can go today.
Yes, that would be perfect to go today. It's a beautiful day to be out there. Yes, we started the skills park, started building that about this time last year, got it finished and did the grand opening in October. We had over 400 people at our grand opening, which was amazing and fantastic. So we know there are people out there that are wanting this. My husband checks on it about daily and runs into people from all over the country that have heard about it through Lake TV, our Facebook, our websites, that want to come here and ride and do those type of things. So we've got a skills clinic coming up the end of this month that we're interested in getting families out to.
It's April 29th, right?
April 29th is the date. We've got 2 sessions. So even if your kids are involved in soccer or baseball, we've got a 9 to 11 session and a 1 to 3 session. We actually have a School of Osage alum who is also a world-renowned mountain biker in 2019. He was 14th in the U.S. in Enduro and 63rd in the world in Enduro.
Colton Jones.
Colton Jones, yes. And so he will be here along with some of our mountain bikers to help give instruction. Also, we're going to have some bike shops there. Sturdike's going to be there, and some other bike shops to help even the parents know what kind of bike to get their kids on. We're going to be talking about positioning kids on a bike, so when they go over obstacles, whether you should be standing up, have your weight back, forward, that type of thing, as well as just some basic bike maintenance.
And it's a really cool thing because in today's day and age, hey, kids want to be on tablets, they want to be in front of the TV, and you'd be surprised when you encourage and engage kids with the outdoors, how much they love that. Couple other things I want to talk about. You guys do a volunteer days at the Y, the first and third Thursday each month. Talk about that.
Yes, so right now we're working at the YMCA where actually there's a half-mile of natural surface trail out there that people can run, walk, bike on, and we're extending that trail out. Hopefully we'll get up to about 2 miles of trail there. We also will be working on the skills park. Obviously, as the winter conditions kind of hit that, we have some general maintenance that we have to do. Always there's weed eating and that type of thing. We've got some flower beds out there that need some attention, some mulching. So some of it's very physical, pulling out rocks, using a rock bar, but there are also opportunities for gardeners to come out and help with that type of thing as well.
Listen, you want to get involved, they'll put you to work, and I love your guys' website, magicdragontrails.com. It'll talk about a lot of the things Stacy and I are discussing. Now, one thing we have to talk about, I love this, the monthly bicycle giveaway. Talk about that program, what it's about, and why you guys have that.
Okay, so we had another philanthropist who set up a nonprofit for us, Branches for the Lake, because they can do hiring. Community Foundation of the Lake couldn't do hiring. And so they are doing the hiring to kind of do some administration of grants as well as trail maintenance. And they are doing a bike giveaway once a month. You can register online at their website, Branches for the Lake, or right now you can register this month at Squeeze, at the Tri-County YMCA, and at Baristago Coffee.
And I believe that Baristago is always a location throughout the year, correct?
The Y and Baristago are going to be there all year long, exactly.
And that's cool. And different businesses sponsor that. And then at the end of the month, someone gets drawn for a free bike, which is awesome, right? What's the value on something like that?
It depends. Some of the smaller balance bikes aren't as expensive, but they run about $200 with a pedal kit, up to about $400 or $500 for an adult bike. And we do want people to know this is for everybody from a baby on up, because really you can start a kid out on a balance bike at about 18 months.
That's crazy. I can attest to that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Stacy, so many things going on. I know you guys got big goals. There's talks of a dog park. There's other stages of this. And so just because of time, I want to encourage you guys to go to magicdragontrails.com and check out all the details, and go out there to the Y and check out the Bicycle Skills Park. It's incredible. Stacy, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And I wanted to give a shout out to our partner, Scott's Concrete, who has been servicing the lake area. Thanks to you for over 50 years making this session possible. We'll take a break and be right back. Stacy, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all. We think it's hot stuff when things cool down. We spring into action when things start warming up. Of course, summer is one big, huge shootout on Lake TV. And we fall in love all over again when autumn rolls around. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, Lake TV's got it all.
Man, I have got to say, when I first started hearing about Magic Dragon Trails, I thought it was neat, a cool idea. I had no idea how big it was going to be and how beautiful. Spending some time out there with them and the Community Foundation at the Bicycle Skills Park. Unbelievable what they've done, and I really am getting excited to see the additional phases as we move forward.
So I'm laughing because you recently went out there to the Magic Dragon Trails to do a special nonprofit of the month, right? And you got on the bike and you were running around, and from what I understand, you just crashed and burned, right?
Yeah.
You really hurt yourself.
Yeah, I hurt myself bad enough. I was icing a certain part of me, coughing up blood the rest of the day. As long as you had a good laugh and Andrew had a good laugh, that's all that matters. But I did take a spill out there. Unfortunately, it's not on camera.
I sent him a text that night. I said, "How'd the shoot go?" And he writes me back, "Yeah, well, I crashed and I'm icing this and I'm icing that and I'm coughing up blood." Oh, we were just rolling. We were laughing so hard. It's so cool, though.
If you watched the last week, you watched Chris go on like a 3-minute laughing streak. If we get him to this point where he enters, there's no coming back. So we need to try to move forward.
Did you ever get in trouble at the dinner table for laughing? So when I was growing up, it's a different day and age. You couldn't just laugh at the dinner table. My dad would stick you with a fork. But once you start laughing, you can't stop, right? It's over. It's gone. It's done.
That's hilarious. Happened once in church during a Christmas service.
Exactly.
The guy in front of me, both of my sisters let out a banshee scream from behind, and I mean, we were rolling for like 15 minutes. My mom was so mad because it's right, of course, as everyone's kneeling, it's quiet, we're dying, and my dad's not helping because he's contributing, and then he's dying laughing. My mom was furious. But once you start, it is hard to laugh. And we saw that with you last week and right now.
Yeah, I was laughing all right. I don't remember what happened that made me laugh last. Oh, I know what it was. It was the spoonbill. being good to eat, and you were not having any of that.
No way. All right, listen. In Lori, in Sunrise Beach, there's a pretty cool event coming up. It's the Max Wagon Wheel Deadlift Challenge. It's going to take place at Westside Fitness 24 in Sunrise Beach, and this is the first annual Max Wagon Wheel Deadlift Challenge. Going to be April 15th. It's a 13-inch or foot deadline. I guess I would say, was that inch or foot, Chris?
I would say 13 inches.
13-inch wagon wheel lift. It's a deadlift. You can check the link we provided on the screen right there. But listen, all profits for this event are going to be given to the Sunrise Beach Police Department to help them buy life-saving AEDs for the officers who are commonly the first person on the scene. It's going to start at 8 o'clock. It's going to start with cycling, goes all the way into the afternoon as part of their open house. Now, the deadlift challenge begins at 10, but like I said, activities starting at 8 o'clock that afternoon until 2 p.m. All weight classes, max weight, 13-inch wagon wheel deadlift. Each lifter will get 3 attempts at the ascending weight. If no lift on any of the attempts, the lifter may choose the same weight or go up, but you cannot lower the weight. So this is stuff that you and I probably would not be participating in.
I'd be losing a gut if I tried this.
Deadlift challenge, but really cool. It's with Westside Fitness 24's grand reopening on April 15th. There will be food, there will be vendor and drinks available. It costs $40, and you can call Greg and Buffy Gordon at 309-453-9943. But the Max Wagon Wheel Deadlift Challenge at Westside Fitness 24 in Sunrise Beach, a neat fundraiser for the Sunrise Beach Police Department for their AED fund.
Do you know what a deadlift is? I'm not sure. Is that where you pick it up and you do it above?
Yes,
okay.
that you got the right idea. The weight bar, and then you kind of throw it up, put it over your head.
Right.
And then that's, I believe, what a deadlift is.
Okay.
So
that'd be interesting. And they say you can bring your belts, soft and hard straps and belts, so you don't have a hernia.
People get really into this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ever seen the show people that get chiseled for the shows where they get all oily and tan and chiseled?
Absolutely. Yeah,
I used to do that. Could you imagine? just kidding.
It's like Mr. America, where what's his name, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they'd grease themselves down and do show their muscles and stuff like that. That's pretty amazing what those people do.
Hard to fathom how you get to that point and keep it, because I like to eat too much.
The chicks do it now too. I mean, it's not just guys; it's the ladies out there, with rock hard abs and biceps and all that stuff.
They're intense. Not something I would partake in. It's not my cup of tea.
We could go the other direction. We could do the flabby one. Not you. You've been losing a lot of weight. You're in pretty good shape now, but I'd win the flabby fest or whatever.
Okay, we better move on before I start laughing uncontrollably. Did you catch the national championship game Monday?
Yeah, UConn, their 5th national championship since 1999, more than any other school in that time frame. So congratulations to UConn, Connecticut.
On average of every 4.5 years, they raise a banner.
That's pretty good, and they've done it with 3 different coaches, I think, too, which is pretty amazing. You usually don't see that. So pretty impressive. They were by far the best team in the tournament this year.
Well, their fans are spoiled. I'll say that. 5 titles in the last 24 years.
Well, and the girls team won like 10 titles in a row or something too there at UConn. They were really, really good. They're still really good, but for a while there, they were winning championships every year.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Gino, he had that thing down pat. All right, upcoming lake events. You can check out funlake.com/events. We're into April. Did want to tell you, April 21st, 22nd, 23rd, the In-Water Boat Show at Dog Days. Hard to believe that's right around the corner.
Yep.
And before I move on to what's on Lake TV, I wanted to mention, again, the bracket challenge winner was Kevin Hornick.
Yeah.
There was a 3-way tie between Andrew, you, and Deborah for second place.
Yep.
That's exactly the way the football pick'em went, with Kevin winning it, you, Andrew, right there, second and third.
He got so lucky, though. I mean, Kevin, he won the football and the college basketball.
He texted me this week and he said, "Tell Uncle Chris that I'll be ready to give him a big hug, and next year I'll let him win."
Right. Bring your barbecue with you, and I'll give you a big hug. He sent us barbecue like last year. It was greatness, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. Jack Stack barbecue.
Oh, but we had, everybody had him beat until all the top C's started losing, so I don't know how
he knew exactly what was going to happen. That's my boy, Kev. That's my boy, Blue. All right, so what's happening on Lake TV? The Lake TV Community Spotlight special edition airing this week with Tipton Lady Cardinals head coach Jason Culpepper couple of his players, and boy, they have a lot to talk about, I'd imagine.
They do, man. A state championship, Class 2A. Actually, that team was so good, they probably could have beaten just about any other girls team in the state, with the exception of Incarnate Word, which is just beyond good.
It's a WNBA team.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they've won 10 of the last 12 state championships. So for Tipton, for the ladies, their first state championship. They've been there, though, at the Final Four for 3 of the last 4 years. And the players that Coach Culpepper brought with him are Myra Class, who was the co-player of the year for the whole state of Missouri, and Charlie Bailey, just a young sophomore star for that team. So it's fun. We get some good stories from Coach and from the ladies, and celebrate a championship, and that's very cool.
What's cool is Myra Class, who, like you said, you catch this week. I heard her on KS95 a couple weeks ago. She shadowed with Colton Nearham with KS95, and I got to hear her on there. Speaking of KS95, not next week, it'll be Jill Durnan with the LCTC on the spotlight. The following week, starting on the 18th, it'll be JT Girl from KS95, and then our new prosecutor, Rochelle Christensen Grosner. She'll be on the 25th. So a great lineup of guests in April on the Community Spotlight Show. Don't forget about Happy Hour with DJ Kyle every single day, 7:02, 5:02, and 11:02. And of course, Weekend at the Lake with David Leatherberry. Before we let you go, this year, Chris, going into Easter weekend, Easter means a little bit more this year than it ever has to me. And so I wanted to break it down. I got to watch the Spotlight interview you did with Brian McKenzie, and that was so insightful, so challenging, honestly, as I dug a little deeper into what Easter and the Eastern season, because as much as we as Christians want to talk about Christmas and the birth of our Savior, well, if it's not for Easter Sunday, for Jesus rising on that third day, and the tomb to be empty when the stone was rolled away, well, that birth that we talk about with Christmas would have kind of been irrelevant. Well, it certainly would have created question about Mary's pure nature and innocence. So the resurrection's actually everything. So I look back at it, just real quick, want to look at Palm Sunday. That signifies the beginning of Holy Week, and Palm Sunday signifies Jesus' entrance into Jerusalem. You know, as he entered Jerusalem, the gospel tells us he was greeted with crowds waving palm branches, crying, Hosanna. Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord. Ironically, those same voices at that point were the ones that just a few days later would then be screaming for his crucifixion. So that is the significance of Palm Sunday that we just celebrated last Sunday. Holy Wednesday, that is as we enter into the darkness. So historically, you know, in churches, there's been candle vigils and ceremonies. And as you get closer to the end of the service, the candles are blown out. And it's marked as the service of tenebrae, which is Latin for darkness, and the hearing of appropriate psalms and other readings while those candles are blown out, that signifies the darkness is coming. And that leads us into Maundy Thursday, which is the Last Supper. This is where Jesus shares his final meal with his disciples. The betrayal is talked about, and the arrest in the Garden of Gethsemane, or of Gethsemane. Say it for me properly.
Gethsemane, I believe.
Gethsemane. Okay, so often Maundy Thursday services will include an act of foot washing, and that commemorates Jesus' washing the feet of his disciples on that night. It reminds participants of the new commandment that Jesus gave his disciples, and that's to love one another as he loved them, a love that is easily seen in Jesus' willingness to give up his life. Of course, following week, Good Friday, Jesus' agony on the cross. It commemorates Jesus' trial before Pontius Pilate. Of course, you remember Barabbas is let go, a rightful prisoner, a murderer, a luster, and the people want Jesus crucified. And of course, Holy Saturday is the visiting of Jesus' tomb, Resurrection Sunday, the celebration. You look at that 9 to 10 day stretch. For Christians, if we believe that what we say is real, is really real, there's not a bigger 10-day stretch in our walk.
No, and I think Paul in the Bible put it perfectly. He said, if Jesus didn't raise from the dead like we believe he did, then we're to be pitied more than anybody else, you know, because everything that Christians believe hinge on that Jesus did, he was the Son of God, and that he did rise from the grave. You know, if that's not true, then the whole Christian faith is a farce.
Gotta tell you, he's real, he loves you, and it's our hope that you would know him. That's gonna do it for Resurrection Sunday. He is risen. We'll see you guys next week.